Alright, here we are for match number 1 with Esper Familiars. I'm going to keep this hand. It's kind of interesting. I don't usually have just straight up swamp in my hand very often, but always finding new things. So, we'll play the island and say go. Not even going to bluff for Spike or Spell Pierce because screw it. Turn 1 Forest. Is it... What the hell? Am I up against Infect? I am. Holy crap. I'm up against Infect, okay. Well, Infect is not a great matchup. It's certainly not a bad matchup. I could say I've never faced it with this deck before, so that'll be interesting. So I guess we'll see how that goes. Them not having a turn 1 Glistener Elf is definitely a big help for me. I will say that. That's not really the best draw, but we get to put out Nightscape Familiar, and now we can snap back whatever creature they play. And then I can either evoke a Mole Drifter, or I could play Compulsive Research. So that will be good. And there's an Ichor Mirror. Well, Evolving Walls isn't bad, but I'm going to Compulsive Research. So I'm going to snap now. Actually going to do it the correct way. I could get another island off the Evolving Walls and have 2 blue, but I'd rather draw with Compulsive Research and see if I get a Karoo. I did not, but I did get a white source for Sunscape Familiar. So I think what I can do here is I just discard the land because the Evolving Wilds land comes into play tapped anyway, so I guess I'll just play the Sunscape Familiar and pass the turn. So next turn we can cast Mole Drifter, or I could leave up Ghostly Flicker if I wanted to. Could play Mnemonic Wall to get back Snap. The big thing is if my opponent is not able to give, well, Trample, but okay, that just happened. So that plan kind of just fell through. Drawing another Ghostly Flicker there really sucks. Right now that's 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be 7, 8 if I was to block. So I guess I kind of need to play Mole Drifter, get an untapped land, and another Snap, I guess is what I need. Or I guess I could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not sure, I think. Well, the question is the best play to play Mnemonic Wall here, or is the best play to play Mole Drifter and draw a couple of cards? Let's see. I just assume my opponent has 3 pump spells in their hand, so if my opponent has 3 pump spells in their hand, I'm dead. Right now this is 6, 7, 8. And I have 3, 4, 5 I can block, so they would need 7 more pump. Alright, I think playing Mole Drifter and drawing 2 cards is probably my best bet. Just try and draw Karoo. So we'll go ahead and do that. I don't think I get anywhere by just evoking it. I don't think I get anything. I missed, but I did draw Stonehorn Dignitary. So if I can get that out there with being able to Ghostly Flicker, I should be able to buy myself enough time. Is my opponent just gonna pump before I block? Alright, so we're gonna block with only 5 because I need at least 1 familiar alive. Or else I probably just lose. And that's not good. So I guess we'll see what happens here. Hopefully I draw like a land or just something. But we'll see. Alright. Giant Growth, Mutagenic Growth. They need to give it +4 more. Okay, plus 2 more. No? What happened? It was at 11 just now. What? Oh, it said 11 for a sec. I thought. I guess it said 13. Alright, so bring in the Dignitary. Dispels are pretty good, and the Prismatic Strands. Only 2 of them, they're not that great. So this matchup is pretty easy because you don't need the Lone Missionary, you don't need the Dinrova Horror to actually win the game. Basically, if you can just keep going Stonehorde Dignitary over and over again, you can't lose. I don't think I'll need the Reaping the Grave since my creatures are not going to die very often. And I could probably shave 1 Ghostly Flicker. And then we'll just go in like that. Alright, so... this hand sucks. I'll tell you why. We don't have a Familiar to get us going. It's too slow. The Dispel doesn't really do much. And all of our lands come into play tapped, so... gotta mulligan that. This hand, on the other hand... okay, well, that makes it a tiny bit better, but it's still really not great. If they go turn 1 Glistener Elf, we probably lose. But, that's just what happens with aggro decks against this deck sometimes. Okay, well, we're probably dead now. So we'll just go Sunscape. And then the problem is we can't really block. I can't really afford to lose the Sunscape. So that is unfortunate, but really nothing that can be done about that. Alright, well, I will block to make this an 0-2, since there's literally no reason for my opponent not to attack there. But, I guess whatever they feel is correct. I guess Snap is probably what I want, just because it's so versatile. And then I guess I could actually just play this island and pass, and leave up Snap to return my Seagate Oracle, or to bounce whichever creature. Hopefully if they tap out, bounce whichever creature gets mostly pumped. So I believe Vines is the only thing that they have. Alright, well, I'm going to take 1. Oh, they just have the heavy creature hand? Yeah, they just have, like, the really, really heavy creature hand. Okay. Well, Muldrifter's pretty good. Problem is I can't really, like... I can't really snap back my Muldrifter. Alright, I think here's what I'll do. I'll float and put Chancery into play. And then evoke Muldrifter, see what I draw. Alright, well we drew another snap, so that changes things. So we'll go ahead and snap out this Muldrifter and bounce these 2. And then we'll go ahead and play this Muldrifter again for evoking purposes, just to draw some cards. And an Impulse. Okay. And now I think I'll just pass. And these are, unfortunately, some of the draws that you can get with this deck. You can sometimes just get, draws that are kind of nothing. And your aggro matchup can just lack a lot. And it's very unfortunate, but there isn't much you can do. We'll leave the Ichorclomir alone, because if my opponent has Vines of Vastwood, you don't really want them to let them react to it. So we're going to block so that we don't have to take an extra couple of damage. And go to 5. My opponent will lose a dude, which is cool. They have Esper. Oh, Rotwolf. Okay. Well, Rotwolf is a bit of an annoyance. So I could snap here at the end of turn to try and slow my opponent down, but since my opponent's down to 1 card, I don't think that helps. I think here I'll just Impulse. And I think Compulsive Research is probably better than Dispel. Since I need, I really, really need, Stonehorde Dignitary or something. So. Okay. So I guess we'll preordain first. And we'll take the impulse because it digs 4 cards deep, but we'll put the preordain on the bottom since it doesn't really do all that much. So I guess I could compulsive now, but I think impulse is probably just better since it digs 4 cards deep. Alright, so there's the Stonehorde Dignitary, which we can play this turn, so that'll be good. And we'll play this Chancery. Return one of these islands. I think I snap one of their creatures. I guess I could snap my own Seagate Oracle since it draws me cards. Yeah, that seems fine. Untap both of these bounce lands. And we'll just cycle this Ash Barrens for now. Get another island, and then play Stonehorde Dignitary. Pass the turn. So now, next turn, I can go Mnemonic Wall, get snap back my Stonehorde Dignitary, so I can live here for quite a while. Excuse me. Which will be really good. So we'll see how that works out for me. Okay, so my opponent has no pump. They went Corpse Cur to return Glistener Elf, and I drew another snap. That's pretty good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use both of my Karus. Oh, we got Ghostly Flicker, Demonic Wall. Okay, so we pretty much win the game, unless they have Graveyard Hate. I don't think that they have anything in the way of kill spells. So we'll discard the Plains, not the Ash Barrens, so we can cycle it. And we'll go ahead and, I guess, snap back. Oh, well actually, I can play Seagate Oracle first, and then snap that back. And I guess we'll take this other Seagate Oracle. And then we'll snap it back again. 1, 2. I'm aware that I can also play a land. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that. And then we will play Seagate Oracle again. Take Mole Drifter. And then Ghostly Flicker both of these bad boys. I'll yield to that. Alright, we'll take the Sunscape, and now I can go get a Swamp and play the Sunscape next turn, which will make this much easier. And I guess we'll discard this plane since we don't really need it. And we'll just pass the turn. Now here's the really, really annoying part of this deck is how long it's going to take to actually win the game. So first off, we will do this. And then we will do this. Get back Ghostly Flicker. Yes. And then, oh, you only need to pay 1, I suppose. And then we'll go this. Get back Ghostly Flicker. Always yield, yes. And then I guess I can just play this guy. We can get another Ghostly Flicker just in case, and we'll just pass the turn. Basically, we're just going to win with Mole Drifters in the air, so I just need to resolve this Mole Drifter. And, yeah, that should be fun. Alright, so we will go ahead and play this Mole Drifter. Draw a couple cards, play Sunscape Familiar, put this Karu into play, Ghostly Flicker on these guys, get back Ghostly Flicker. Didn't I yield auto yes to that? And we'll do it again just so that I can save my mana for next turn. Okay, I guess I can't always yield yes. That's fun. And then we'll just pass the turn. We have a snap as insurance policy. Alright, so we'll go ahead and play this. And then we will go ahead and flicker. Whoop, I shouldn't have done that. I forgot to attack first. I'm playing like it's the combo version, and I shouldn't be. Yes, and then play this. And play this. And now I'm pretty sure that my opponent should not be able to attack. So I guess we'll see if I'm correct on that. We'll go ahead and just discard a bunch of these lands since we don't really need them. And we'll just say go. I'm very certain that these abilities stack, so my opponent should not be able to attack. I would be correct. Alright, and we'll get in there for 6. 1, 2, 3. And we'll go ahead and Ghostly Flicker this guy a bunch of damn times, just because principles. And flicker you guys again. There's no point in us drawing any more cards. I pretty much can't lose at this point. So just do this 3 times. And then pass the turn. And do it at the end of my opponent's turn. This is... oh my god, this is bringing back memories of, whatchamacallit? Peregrine Drake. Sure. Now, my opponent could always Vines of Vastwood one of my own creatures in response to me doing this. So that is something to keep in mind. That's another reason I took the other Ghostly Flicker. What the... stop it. Alright, and we can just F6 for the rest of our lives. Another one. Alright, let's go ahead and attack for 6 in the air. And we'll just discard... I guess we'll just discard Prismatic Strands and just assert dominance. My opponent's probably not even paying attention to the fact that I have it. Okay. Thank you, my opponent, for conceding. So, I think Dispel gets even better after sideboarding. I think Prismatic Strands probably isn't as good because it looks like my opponent's playing more colorless creatures than I expected. And just to make it easier in my life, I'm going to bring in this these other 2 Dinrova Horrors. And probably... I guess we could just take it. Prismatic Strand just isn't very good against this deck because of the colorless creatures, so I guess we can just do that and see how that goes for me in life. Alright, well. Well, again, this hand is very bad. We don't even have... we're not... if I was on the play, I would keep this hand. But since I'm not on the play, I can't really keep this hand, I don't think. Because I don't really have a way to actually do anything. Okay. Alright, Magic Online. That's cool. Alright, well, since I'm forced to keep this hand. Yeah, this deck does not mulligan very well, because you can just get really crappy hands. Like, you can sometimes just end up with 2 lands in your hand, but they're both Karus. You can sometimes end up with 1 land in your hand and it's a Karu. And you just have to mulligan that. It's a large reason why I didn't like playing this deck way back in the day in any iteration. Well, actually, no, that's not true. It was better when you had Temporal Fissure because you only needed 1 Karu and 1 basic because you had Cloud of Fairies, but nowadays, of course, that's not true anymore. You don't have Cloud of Fairies, so, you know. Alright, so it's possible that we just lose next turn. Alright, I'd say there's a 100% chance we lose next turn, which is just unfortunate. I mean, you're seeing the power of Infect against a deck like this. Doesn't really make Infect much of a good deck, but, you know. Alright, do your worst, opponent. How many ground spells do you have in your hand? My opponent doesn't have any. Wow. Okay, cool. Rob Wolf, alright. Well, there is the man of the hour, so I guess here we'll Compulsive Research and probably die, since my opponent only needs 1 pump spell in their entire thing to work. So we'll discard the planes, but hey, if my opponent has a land and a creature and then draws another creature and land and I get to live, I'm doing good in life, I think. So unfortunately my opponent has a pump spell, they're just questioning which one to use, so that's just how that works. If my opponent could stop slow rolling me, that'd be great. Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm really, really irritable today. I'm having a very, very hard time with my real life stuff, so just, you know. But yeah, I think it kind of shown how good the deck can be against an aggro deck. I think it also showed just how easy it is for this deck to lose to aggro decks. But we still have another match to go, so I guess we'll see if we can have another more in-depth look. Yeah, so join me for match number 2. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you in just a little bit.